Hello, listeners. This is Alex Mercer, and you're tuned to 97.3 FM Outbreak FM right here in Lansing, Michigan. It is 6:48 on a Thursday morning in November, and before we get into traffic and weather, I want to be honest with you about something. I almost didn't come in today. I woke up, looked outside at the frost coating every single car on my street, checked the thermometer, 26 degrees, and genuinely considered calling it a sick day. But here I am, coffee in hand, heater running loud enough that you can probably hear it if you turn your volume up. That's not a technical issue. That's just a very old building that Michigan winters have never been kind to. My producer Dana got here before 6, same as always. 3 years behind the glass, and she has never once been late. She makes me look bad on a daily basis, and I appreciate her for it. She's got her headset on, she's got the morning wire feeds up, and she's got that expression she gets when something came through overnight that she hasn't decided how to feel about yet. We'll get there. First, traffic. I-96 westbound near Okemos is backed up about 2 miles due to a fender bender involving a pickup truck and what witnesses are calling a very confident deer. The deer is fine, the truck is not. Emergency crews are on scene, and you should expect delays through at least 7:30. If you're coming into downtown off M43, take Cedar instead of Michigan Avenue. Utility crew is working a signal problem at the Washington intersection, and it's been a mess since yesterday. Out west, I-196 through Grand Rapids is moving cleanly. US to 131 looks fine. Over in Flint, give yourself an extra 10 minutes on I-75 and don't tailgate. That last part isn't crisis advice, that's just Flint. Weather. High today of 31 degrees. Wind chill in the low teens through about noon. We've got light snow showers possible through mid-morning. Nothing accumulating. Just enough for the roads to get a little moody. Temperatures drop into the single digits overnight by the weekend. If you haven't moved your outdoor furniture inside yet, I'm not judging, but today would be the day. Donna just slid a paper across the desk. Printed from the overnight wire. I'm reading it now. Okay, so this is a report from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. Came in at 4:17 a.m. There was an incident last night at Lakeview Regional Medical Center up in Traverse City. The language is careful. Multiple patients exhibiting acute behavioral disturbances and physical aggression. 17 staff members treated for injuries. 6 transported to a separate facility for observation. The health department is calling it a contained medical event. Lakeview Regional has temporarily restricted outside admissions. Traverse City, 4 hours north of us. I want to be measured here. Hospitals have difficult situations. Behavioral health crises, patients in distress, people who come through the E under the influence of something. It happens. Contained medical event is standard language. It means very little on its own. But I'm keeping this paper right next to my coffee. Just in case. 7:03 now. We've got a call in to the Traverse City Fire Department Public Information Line. Nothing back yet. It's early. Dana is pulling up whatever local coverage exists out of the Traverse City area. She's finding almost nothing, which is itself a little unusual for a hospital incident involving 17 injured staff members. Usually something would be on the local news sites by now. I'm not reading into that. I'm just noting it. Let's take a quick break. When I come back, the latest from Lansing City Council, and we'll check back on those Traverse City wire updates. Stay with me. You're on 97.3 FM, 722. Dana just got off the phone with someone she knows, personally, not professionally, at the Grand Traverse County Sheriff's Office. He didn't say much. What he did say was that there's a road closure on US 31 heading into Traverse City from the south. They're calling it a traffic safety measure. He said he couldn't tell her more than that, and he had to go. Road closure. On US 31, at 7 in the morning. After a hospital incident involving 17 injured staff members. I want to be responsible with how I talk about this because I've been doing this long enough to know that speculation, without facts, causes its own kind of damage. So let me be precise. What I can confirm: a hospital reported a serious incident overnight, and a major artery into Traverse City is closed this morning. Those two things may have nothing to do with each other. They may have everything to do with each other. I don't know yet. Dana has been on hold with the Lakeview Regional Hospital Communications Office for 8 minutes. When she finally got through, the person on the other end told her the hospital is conducting an internal operational assessment and expects to resume normal admissions within 24 hours. When Dana asked about the 17 injured staff members, the response was, "I can't speak to specific personnel matters. Internal operational assessment." That sentence is doing an enormous amount of work and saying almost nothing. 7:38. Dana's phone just lit up. Her sister lives in Traverse City, near the West Bay area, about 2 miles from the hospital. She texted Dana at 7:31 saying there were a lot of sirens, that she could see people moving quickly down her street, that one of them looked like they might be hurt. She said she locked her front door. She hasn't responded to Dana's follow-up texts. I'm going to keep monitoring this. Something is off up there, and I'd rather tell you that now than pretend everything is fine for the sake of a smooth broadcast. You're on 97.3 FM, Lansing. I'm Alex Mercer. Stay close. 7:48. New wire update just came in while I was going to break. Michigan State Police have issued a press release. I'm reading it word for word. Michigan State Police are currently assisting local authorities in the Grand Traverse County region following reports of a public safety disturbance. Residents in the Traverse City area are advised to shelter in place and await further guidance from local emergency management officials. A public briefing will be held at 10 a.m., shelter in place. That is not language the state police use for a hospital administrative issue. That is not language they use lightly. Shelter in place means stay inside, lock your doors, and wait. That means whatever is happening in Traverse City has moved beyond the hospital. Dana's sister still hasn't texted back. It's been 17 minutes. I need to be honest with you, because that's what I do on this show, and today is not the day to stop. I don't know what's happening in Traverse City. I know it started at a hospital. I know state police are telling residents to shelter in place. I know a road is closed. And I know that a woman near the hospital texted her sister in Lansing, describing sirens and people running in the street, and then went quiet. That is what I know. I'm going to keep calling, keep scanning, keep updating you. If you have anyone in the Traverse City area, reach out to them right now. Find out where they are and whether they're inside. 7:56. I'm watching the MSP scanner feed. It's busy. A lot of multi-unit dispatches, staging area calls. That's when units are directed to a central point rather than individual incidents. That's what you do when incidents become too numerous to address one at a time. I've been in this chair for 11 years. I covered the Flint water crisis. I covered the 2012 tornadoes. I have a sense for when something is serious. And right now every instinct I have is telling me this is serious. Stay inside if you can. Keep this on. I'm not going anywhere. If this broadcast is reaching you, if you've found this channel and this story is keeping you company, hit that subscribe button. There are more broadcasts coming, more cities, more nights like this one. You don't want to miss what comes next. 8:07. The phone started ringing about 4 minutes ago and they haven't stopped. Dana is fielding them as fast as she can while I'm on the air. I'm going to tell you what we're hearing because you deserve to know. We have a caller, I'm not using names, who says she's a nurse at Munson Medical Center in Traverse City. Separate facility from Lakeview Regional, about 1.5 miles away. She called from what she described as a break room where she and several colleagues have locked themselves in. She was whispering. She said there are patients on the upper floors who they cannot control. She said they are not responding to sedation in the way they should. She said patients who came through the emergency department overnight have attacked staff members. She was very deliberate about the words she chose. Not agitated. Not combative. Attacked, she said, biting. multiple incidents involving biting. I asked her to clarify. She said yes, biting. She said 2 of her colleagues were taken to a separate room because they were injured and starting to show symptoms of something. She said she didn't know what symptoms exactly, just that they were wrong. That's the word she used, wrong. She had to hang up. She said something was in the hallway outside the break room door. I want to be careful with this. That is one account. One caller, unverified. I have no way to confirm what she told me from this studio. But I also have a state police shelter-in-place advisory, a road closure, 17 staff injuries reported overnight, and a wire update that just came in, right now as I'm speaking, from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. I'm going to read you the relevant part. The MDHHS is currently coordinating with federal health authorities regarding Encover's unspecified pathogen-linked behavioral emergency originating in the Traverse City metropolitan area. Initial reports indicate rapid onset of severe neurological symptoms, including extreme aggression and loss of motor coordination in affected individuals. The public is advised to avoid contact with any individual presenting with these symptoms. Do not attempt to restrain or assist these individuals. Contact emergency services immediately. Pathogen-linked behavioral emergency. Rapid onset neurological symptoms. Extreme aggression. I'm going to read that middle section one more time because I want it to land. Rapid onset of severe neurological symptoms, including extreme aggression and loss of motor coordination. This is not a hospital administrative issue. This is not a behavioral health incident contained to one facility. The State Health Department is describing an active pathogen. They are telling the public not to approach affected individuals. They are telling you to call 911 instead of trying to help. Dana just got a text back from her sister. She's inside. She's okay. She says police came to her door about 20 minutes ago to verify she was indoors. The officer told her to lock everything, stay away from windows, and not open the door for anyone until she received official instruction. He didn't answer her questions about what was happening outside. He just told her to stay inside and left. An officer went door to door, telling people to stay inside and not answer questions about why. 8:31. Dana has 3 windows open and her phone hasn't stopped since 8:15. Let me walk you through what's developed in the last 25 minutes because there's a lot. At 8:19, the state police scanner shifted to a multi-agency emergency dispatch covering all of Grand Traverse County and extending into Antrim, Benzie, and Leelanau counties. That's the entire northwestern corner of the Lower Peninsula. Units were directed to staging areas rather than to specific incident locations. That is mass casualty event protocol. Not speculation. That's what that radio language means in emergency management. When you're sending units to staging areas instead of addresses, it means the addresses are too numerous to count. At 8:23, a second MDHS update came in. I want to read the key section. The public is advised to avoid contact with any individual presenting with these symptoms. Do not attempt to restrain or assist these individuals. That sentence, do not attempt to assist, is not language public health officials use unless they believe the risk of contact outweighs the moral instinct to help a person in distress. They have made a calculation. They are telling you that helping an affected individual may get you killed. Social media posts are coming in from Traverse City residents. Dozens of them, no connection to each other, all describing the same thing in their own words. People on the street who aren't moving right. People who aren't responding to their names. Sounds from adjacent apartments that don't sound like people. One post from someone who says they're a paramedic who worked the overnight shift says, and I'm reading this exactly as written, I don't know how to explain what I saw at the hospital last night. They came back. We lost one of our guys, and then he came back and we had to, I can't finish this. Please stay inside, please. They came back. I've been sitting with that sentence for about 3 minutes trying to figure out how to talk to you about it responsibly. Here's what I've decided. My responsibility to you is not to protect you from frightening information. My responsibility is to give you accurate information so you can make decisions. So I'm going to tell you what that paramedic wrote, and I'm going to tell you that it is consistent with other accounts coming in, and I'm going to let you hold that however you need to hold it. The Michigan Emergency Management Division has just upgraded the Traverse City situation from a regional advisory to a statewide health alert. Every county in Michigan has been notified. The governor's office is involved. The 10 a.m. briefing has been moved to 9 a.m. If you are in or near Traverse City, do not be outside. Lock your doors. Do not approach anyone who appears disoriented or aggressive. Do not go toward the hospital. Call 911 if you see someone who appears injured and behaving erratically, but do not approach them yourself. If you are anywhere else in Michigan right now, go inside. That's not an overreaction. That's the information I have, and I'm giving it to you straight. I'm here. I'm not leaving this microphone. 8 to 57. New confirmed incident locations. Petoskey, 60 miles southeast of Traverse City. Gaylord, Cadillac, all in the northern Lower Peninsula. All following the same pattern. Hospital or medical facility setting first, then spread to adjacent streets. Petoskey's local emergency services are overwhelmed. The Gaylord city manager posted on the city's official page 11 minutes ago asking residents to shelter and, this word, barricade if possible. A city manager used the word barricade. I called my family 20 minutes ago during the break. My wife and our daughter are in East Lansing, about 10 miles from the studio. They're inside. They're okay. My wife wants me to come home. I told her I would if things moved south toward Lansing. But right now the confirmed reports are concentrated in the north. And right now the most useful thing I can do is stay at this microphone. I want to address something coming in through the listener messages. Some of you are asking me to say a specific word. The word you're thinking of when you hear rapid onset, extreme aggression, bite transmission, and they came back. I understand why you're asking. I understand the pattern you're recognizing. Here is what I'll say. The behavior being described by medical personnel is unlike any normal human behavior under any circumstances I'm aware of. The transmission pattern, originating in hospitals, spreading through biting, progressing rapidly, is consistent with a communicable agent. Death does not appear to be ending the threat. I know how that last part sounds. I'm saying it anyway because you need to hear it from someone who isn't going to minimize it. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a virologist. I'm a radio host in a mid-sized Michigan city who has been at this desk for 11 years and who is not going to lie to you. 9 a.m. briefing starts in 2 minutes. I'm going live with it. Don't move. Governor's briefing, 9:03 a.m. live. The briefing lasted 11 minutes. Governor's office, State Police Director, MDHS Commissioner, and a representative from what was described only as a federal health response team, no agency named. Here is what was said. A significant public health emergency is underway. Initial Outbreak Center, Lakeview Regional Medical Center, Traverse City. First case is confirmed at approximately 11:30 p.m. Wednesday. Spread has occurred to adjacent facilities and surrounding neighborhoods. Similar situations now confirmed in Petoskey, Alpena, and Mount Pleasant. Governor declared a statewide emergency effective 9 a.m. All Michigan National Guard units are mobilizing. Interstate travel is being assessed for restriction. A federal emergency declaration has been requested. All non-essential businesses are asked to close. All schools closed, effective immediately. The MDHS Commissioner said the pathogen appears to be transmitted through direct contact with bodily fluids. She confirmed bite transmission as the primary vector. She said onset of symptoms in exposed individuals is, and she paused before saying this, rapid. Hours, not days. When a reporter asked directly whether the pathogen was causing affected individuals to reanimate after death, the panel went very quiet for a moment. The governor said, "We are asking the public to focus on their immediate safety." That is not a denial. The next update is at noon. 9:14, I'm back. Here is your immediate guidance. If you are anywhere in Michigan right now, go inside. Lock every door and window. Fill containers with water now, before you need to. Gather food that doesn't require cooking. Find a flashlight. Stay on this frequency. Do not go outside unless you are in immediate danger. If you see someone moving abnormally, not responding to their name, showing signs of extreme aggression, do not approach them. I know that goes against every instinct. But the state was explicit, and I'm being explicit. Do not approach. If you are bitten or scratched by someone showing these symptoms, get distance between yourself and others immediately. Call emergency services. Dana is still monitoring everything. Her sister is still inside, still okay, still not going near the windows. Donna's hands are steady. She is a better person than most. 9:16. You're on 97.3 FM, Outbreak FM, Lansing, Michigan. I am Alex Mercer. I am not going anywhere. If this broadcast is finding you somewhere safe, share it. Someone you know needs to hear this. Subscribe so you don't miss the next transmission. We're staying on air as long as we can. The situation has moved faster in the last 25 minutes than at any point this morning, and I need to update you. Mount Pleasant, Central Michigan University campus. About 19,000 students enrolled this semester. The Mount Pleasant City Police posted on their official page 8 minutes ago, confirming an active situation near the Student Health Center on campus. The university sent an emergency notification to all students and staff. Shelter in place. Stay in your dorms. Lock your doors. A freshman student named Gabrielle called our listener line about 12 minutes ago. She was calm, remarkably calm for someone in her situation. She said she was in her dorm room with 2 roommates and they had moved furniture against the door. She said there had been noise in the hallway for the past 40 minutes. I asked her to describe it. She paused and then she said it sounds like someone who is sick, but also angry. And it does not stop. She is still on hold. Dana is checking in with her every few minutes. I also need to tell you about Lansing right now, because this is our city and you deserve to know what I know. As of this moment, there are no confirmed outbreak incidents in Lansing proper. Ingham County has received the statewide emergency notification. Lansing PD has mobilized additional units as a precaution. I spoke to a Lansing PD spokesperson about 8 minutes ago, and she told me, she said I could paraphrase. She said residents should strongly consider sheltering in place without waiting for a mandatory order. Consider sheltering in place without waiting for a mandatory order. That is as close as someone in her position can get to saying, please, go inside right now. My wife just texted. They are okay. East Lansing is quiet. Michigan State University sent a campus-wide notification canceling all in-person activity and asking students to stay in their residences. My daughter's school called at 9:30 and dismissed all students, asked parents to come immediately. My wife picked her up. They are home. Knowing where they are helps me stay in this chair. Let me give you something practical to work with right now. Water first. Fill every container you have. If power goes out, municipal water systems can eventually fail. Fill your bathtub. Fill every pot and bottle you have. Do it now, not in an hour. Food. Think about what you have that does not require cooking or refrigeration. That is what you need to identify right now. Communication. When cell networks get congested, text messages go through more reliably than calls. Text your family members instead of calling. Short messages. Just let them know where you are and that you are okay. Location. If you are in a house, think about which room is most secure. Interior rooms without ground floor windows. A door that locks or can be blocked with furniture. If you are in an apartment, stay away from ground floor entry points if possible. I have the scanner running in the background and something is moving on the north side of Lansing. Police dispatch multiple units, something near the Sparrow Hospital complex. Dana is calling the PD right now to find out what we are dealing with. Hold on. 10:08. Okay, I need to tell you what Dana found out. She reached a contact at Sparrow Hospital. Not official, someone she trusts. That contact told her that early this morning, around 3 a.m., 4 patients were transferred from a northern Michigan facility to Sparrow's trauma unit. 2 were in critical condition. The other 2 were severely agitated on arrival. At approximately 8:45 a.m., one of the 4 patients died. He was pronounced dead. And then approximately 12 minutes later, the nursing staff reported that he had reanimated. That was the word Dana's contact used. She said it quietly, like she did not want to hear herself say it. She said he reanimated and attacked the staff in the room. Before he was restrained, he bit 2 nurses and a resident physician. Those 3 individuals are now in isolation at Sparrow Hospital. This is in Lansing, 8 miles from this studio. I am going to stop being careful about this and start being direct with you, because you deserve directness right now, and I have been in this chair long enough to know when the time for careful, measured language has passed. What is happening in Michigan right now is not a standard public health emergency. Something is spreading. It moves through bites. It affects the brain in a way that strips out everything recognizable about a person and leaves behind something that only wants to keep spreading. We do not have an official name for it yet. We do not have a treatment. We do not have a timeline. What we have is now. And right now, the people of Michigan need accurate information more than they need to be protected from frightening facts. So here is the truth as I understand it at 10:11 on this Thursday morning. This outbreak began in Traverse City and has reached at least 6 separate Michigan communities: Petoskey, Gaylord, Cadillac, Alpena, Mount Pleasant, and now our own Lansing. It spreads through direct contact, primarily biting. Onset of symptoms is rapid, measured in hours. Affected individuals lose cognitive function and become extremely aggressive. Death does not appear to end the threat. I know exactly how that sentence sounds. I am saying it anyway. The state has mobilized the National Guard. A federal emergency has been declared. The CDC has been called in. None of that has stopped the spread yet. What stops the spread is the decisions each of us makes right now. Distance, barriers, staying inside. Please go inside. If you are in a car, drive to the nearest safe building and stay there. If you are at work, lock the building. Find out where your family is. Gather water and food. Stay on this frequency. Dana is trying to reach her sister again. Her sister is okay. We do not know for how long. 10:13. You are on 97.3 FM. Outbreak FM, Lansing, Michigan. I am Alex Mercer, and I am not leaving this chair. Not yet. Not while people are listening. 10:39. I have been taking calls and I want to tell you about 2 of them. The first was a retired emergency room physician living in downtown Lansing. He called because he wanted to provide context I do not have as a layperson. He said the transmission and symptom pattern being described is unlike any naturally occurring pathogen he is aware of. Naturally occurring viruses that affect behavior, like rabies, have incubation periods measured in days or weeks, not hours. The speed of progression here suggests either a synthetic compound or something that has been significantly altered from its natural state. He said the hospital origin pattern is notable because it suggests the initial vector may have come through a clinical environment. A blood product, a medication, something administered or transferred in a hospital setting that then became transmissible person to person. He said he has no specific knowledge beyond what he is hearing on this broadcast. But the pattern, he said, is what concerns him. And then he said something I want to pass on to you word for word. He said whatever this is, it is moving too fast for anyone to have built immunity to it, which means everyone is equally susceptible. The only real protection right now is physical separation from exposed individuals. He asked me to make sure people heard that. I am making sure. The second call was from a woman named Teresa. She was calling from a gas station parking lot somewhere near Clare, about an hour north of Lansing. She said she got out of Traverse City around 6 a.m. before the road closures fully went up. She said her mother had visited a friend at Lakeview Regional the day before. Came home that evening saying she felt tired and had a headache. By 11 p.m., her mother was confused and becoming aggressive. By midnight, she was something Teresa could not put into words. Teresa got out of the house and drove south without stopping. I asked if she was hurt. She said she did not think so. She said her mother grabbed her arm and she pulled away. She said she was not sure if her skin was broken. She asked me if she was going to be okay. I told her the most honest thing I had. I did not know. I told her she did the right thing by getting out. I told her to call 911 right now. Stay in her car with the windows up and not let anyone she did not know approach the vehicle. Dana got the Clare County Sheriff's number and passed it along. Teresa asked me if I had kids. I told her I have a daughter. She said she hoped my daughter was okay. I told her I hoped she was okay too. 10:52. The scanner is lighting up. Multiple calls near the hospital district on the north side of Lansing. Social media posts from the Waverly neighborhood, northwest of downtown. People describing sounds from the street. Someone describing a person standing motionless in the middle of the road who would not respond to anything. Lansing PD dispatch is stretched. You can hear it in the radio traffic. I am going to issue a direct advisory right now. Not because I am a government official. Because I have information and a microphone and people listening, and that combination carries a responsibility I take seriously. If you are in the greater Lansing metro area, treat this as a mandatory shelter-in-place order right now. At this moment, without waiting for the official one, lock every door and window. Do not go outside for any reason unless you are in immediate physical danger. Do not answer the door for anyone you cannot positively identify through a window or by voice. If someone outside appears to be in distress, call 911. Do not go out to them. I know how cruel that sounds. I know it goes against everything we are raised to do. But this spreads through contact, and going outside to help a stranger right now may cost you your life. I am sorry. I am genuinely sorry that this is the world we are in right now. My wife just texted again. She and my daughter are home. Doors locked. She asked me to come home. I told her I would when I could. I told her I loved her. That is all any of us can say right now. I love you. Stay inside. I will be here. You are on 97.3 FM. I am Alex Mercer. Stay close. The noon press briefing has been moved to 11:30. That tells you everything. When they move the briefing forward, it means the situation has developed faster than they anticipated, and they cannot afford to wait. Let me walk you through what has happened in the last 35 minutes. The National Guard has established checkpoints on 3 major arteries connecting northern Michigan to the rest of the state. 1 to 75 at the Gaylord Corridor, US 131 near Cadillac, and 55 west of Houghton Lake. These checkpoints are not just monitoring traffic. They are restricting northbound movement entirely and inspecting southbound vehicles for individuals showing signs of infection. If you are stopped at one of these checkpoints, comply fully. Do not panic, do not argue. They are trying to keep this from moving south. Grand Rapids is reporting its first confirmed cases. This is significant because Grand Rapids sits on the western side of the state, connected to the north by US 131, one of the hardest hit corridors. The specific location is Spectrum Health Butterworth Hospital. 2 confirmed cases in the emergency department. The hospital went into full lockdown at 10:50 a.m. Butterworth has over 500 beds. There are hundreds of patients and thousands of staff inside that building right now. Detroit Metro Airport has suspended all outgoing flights as of 11 a.m. Incoming flights are being diverted or held at their origin cities. When DTW closes, the federal government has made a calculation about the risk of people carrying this pathogen out of Michigan. That calculation is not a reassuring one. Dana's contact at Sparrow Hospital sent her a 2-word text message about 10 minutes ago. Head out. That is all it said. Dana called back immediately. Straight to voicemail. We are not running. I want to be clear about that. I am not telling you to run. But I am telling you what I am seeing and hearing from 8 miles away, because you deserve the full picture. This studio is a single-story building with glass windows and a parking lot on West Michigan Avenue. Between us and the Sparrow Hospital District, there are 8 miles of city street. I am aware of that distance. I am aware of how quickly things have moved today. And I am also aware that there are hundreds of thousands of people across this state right now who are alone or frightened or trying to figure out what to do, and that this broadcast is something steady to hold on to. So I am staying. As long as the transmitter is up and the lights are on, I am staying. 2 minutes to the briefing. Dana is reaching across the desk and I am letting her because we are both human beings, and that is what human beings do when the world gets like this. Stay close. The briefing just ended. I will give you everything. The governor confirmed that as of 11:30 a.m. Michigan has active outbreak zones in 11 communities across the lower peninsula. 4 new additions since the 9 a.m. update: Sault Ste. Marie, Flint, Bay City, and Midland. Sault Ste. Marie is in the Upper Peninsula. That means this has crossed the Mackinac Bridge. The bridge is now closed in both directions, effective immediately. If you were considering crossing the bridge for any reason, that option no longer exists. Flint. I want to talk about Flint for a moment, because the people of that city have carried more than their share for a long time. The water, the poverty, the infrastructure. Years of being told help was coming, and now this. The confirmed incident in Flint is at McLaren Flint Hospital. Same pattern as everywhere else. Patient transfer from a northern facility, outbreak in the hospital, spread to adjacent areas. I want you to know that the Flint city government has been in contact with state officials since 9 a.m. this morning. They were not caught off guard. They have been watching this come all day, and they have been preparing. Flint is not a city that breaks easily. The governor announced that federal military assets from Fort Custer are being deployed to support National Guard operations. Active duty military on Michigan soil. That requires a specific type of federal emergency declaration. The president signed it at 1:30 this afternoon. And then the governor said something I want to give you exactly as she said it. She said, "The next 24 hours will determine whether we are able to establish meaningful containment south of the US 10 corridor." She asked every Michigander in the central and southern lower peninsula to treat the next 24 hours as the most critical period of their lives. Stay inside. Stay safe. Stay quiet. Let the response forces work. The most critical period of their lives. The next update is at 3 p.m., 12/11. I want to tell you about something Dana found while I was on break. I want to preface this carefully. What she found is not from an official source. It appears to be an internal state health department situation report that was uploaded to a public-facing portal accidentally. It has since been scrubbed from the site, but she cached it before it disappeared. I cannot independently verify its authenticity. Given everything that has happened in the last 5 hours, I am not going to bury it. The document appears to have been drafted around 8 a.m. this morning. It contains information that was not included in either public briefing. The origin trace section identifies the initial patient as a 52-year-old man admitted to Lakeview Regional at 9:17 p.m. Wednesday evening. He presented with bite wounds to his left forearm. When asked to identify the source, he said it was a large dog he encountered while hiking in the rural area northeast of Traverse City near the Boardman River corridor Wednesday afternoon. The document notes that wound characteristics are inconsistent with known canine bite patterns. Source listed as under investigation, not a dog. They do not believe it was a dog. The document continues with transmission modeling. The estimated rate of spread falls between 6 and 9. For context, seasonal influenza sits around 1.3. Measles, the most transmissible disease in our modern medical history, runs between 12 and 18. A rate between 6 and 9 for a pathogen that also reanimates deceased hosts represents, in the document's own words, a transmission scenario with no existing modeling framework. No existing modeling framework. They are not working from a playbook. There is no playbook for this. The final section I want to read to you says the recommended containment posture has shifted from controlled response to delay and buffer. The primary objective is no longer eradication of the pathogen in areas already hit. The primary objective is now preservation of unaffected population centers in southern Michigan and surrounding states. Federal resources are being prioritized for containment points along the Indiana and Ohio state lines. Delay and buffer. They are buying time for the South while the North holds what it can. If you are in Detroit, Ann Arbor, Kalamazoo, or anywhere in the southern Lower Peninsula, the situation may reach you before the official order to prepare does. I am telling you this not to frighten you, but to give you time to use. Use it right now. Not tonight, right now. 12:44. I have been on the phones. 3 conversations I need to share with you. First, a veterinary biologist at Michigan State University called because he heard me read the origin trace section about the bite wound being inconsistent with a large dog. He said several large wild animals in northern Michigan could produce a serious bite, black bear among them. But that is not what he wanted to tell me. He wanted to tell me about the Boardman River corridor specifically. He said there have been reports in the wildlife management community over the past 6 weeks of abnormal animal behavior in that exact area. Deer and smaller mammals acting disoriented and aggressive without provocation. Wildlife officials had been investigating it as a possible toxin contamination in the watershed. He said he does not know if it is connected. But he wanted me to know that this may not have started with a person. It may have started in the food chain, in the water, in the wildlife population. Animals do not respect checkpoints. Second, a woman named Patricia calling from the east side of Lansing. She is alone. Her nearest neighbors are elderly, and she is worried about them. She asked me what to do when you want to help people nearby, but do not know if it is safe to go outside. I told her, reach out by phone or text first. If you cannot reach them and you genuinely believe they are in immediate danger, call 911 and describe the situation. Let emergency services make the call about response. Do not go to their door yourself. I know that sounds cold. I know she is sitting alone worried about the couple next door. But the most useful thing she can do for her community right now is stay alive and uninfected. She thanked me. She did not sound okay, but she thanked me. Third, a young man who said his name was Marcus, maybe 19 or 20 years old, calling from a dormitory building at Central Michigan University in Mount Pleasant. He said he and about 20 other students had barricaded themselves in one wing of the building since around 9 a.m. They had food from a vending machine and access to a bathroom. He said they could not hear anything in the hallway anymore, which had been very wrong sounding several hours earlier. He asked me what to do. I told him to stay where he was. Do not open the door. If someone knocks, speak through the door before considering anything else. Watch windows for any sign of National Guard or emergency services, and if you see them, make yourself visible and signal. Keep everyone calm. Tell them that people are coming. Dana sent Marcus's dormitory name and building number to the National Guard media line. I have no way of knowing if anyone acted on it, but we tried. Before he hung up, Marcus asked me if I had kids. I told him I have a daughter. He said he hoped she was okay. I told him I hoped his mother in Dearborn was okay too. It is almost 1 p.m. We have been on air continuously for 6 hours. I am staying here as long as the lights stay on. You found this channel on what might be the worst day in Michigan history. That means something. If this broadcast is keeping you company, subscribe. Tell someone. We are going to be here for every hour of this. Reports from Flint now show I-75 is closed in both directions at the Saginaw Street interchange. The closure appears to be preemptive, Guard units establishing position before spread reaches the city proper. People in Flint are now effectively cut off from road travel north or south on the interstate. Ann Arbor, the University of Michigan Medical Center has moved to modified lockdown as a precaution. No incoming transfers from affected regions, restricted visitor access, elevated infection control protocols. No confirmed cases at U of M as of this hour. But that lockdown tells you what the people running that hospital think is coming. Detroit, the city has declared a local emergency separate from the statewide declaration. The mayor's office issued a statement urging all Detroit residents to shelter in place and to report individuals behaving in ways inconsistent with normal human behavior. That phrase, inconsistent with normal human behavior, appeared in an official Detroit city government press release. A statement written by lawyers and communications staff who chose those words carefully. Let that settle for a moment. I want to address something I can see from this window. We are on the second floor of a building on West Michigan Avenue. I have a partial view of the intersection half a block down. There is a police vehicle parked there with its lights on. And there is a person in the westbound lane of this street who is not behaving normally. I want to be precise about what I am seeing. A person standing in the middle of the lane, not moving. Not responding to the cars that have stopped behind them. The officer has stepped out of his vehicle. He is keeping distance. He is talking. The person is turning toward the officer now. The officer is backing up toward his vehicle. I am going to stop describing this. The officer has drawn his weapon, and I am not going to narrate what happens next. Give me a moment. It is over. The officer is standing and appears uninjured. The individual who was in the road is no longer a threat. The officer is on his radio. He is looking up and down the street. He gets back in his vehicle and drives east. The street is empty. I have been at this window for 6 hours, and I just watched something I cannot unwatch. I want to be honest with you. My hands are shaking a little. Dana's hand is on my shoulder. That is helping, but I am still here. The microphone is on. You need me to stay, so I am staying. The 3 p.m. briefing just ended. Here is everything. The governor confirmed that as of 3 p.m. Michigan has active outbreak zones in 11 communities across the lower peninsula. The 4 additions since the noon update are Sault Ste. Marie, Flint, Bay City, and Midland. The U.S. 10 containment line has been formally established. Guard units are positioned across the full width of the state along that corridor from Ludington on the west to Bay City on the east. Confirmed outbreak communities are all north of that line except Lansing, which sits about 60 miles south. The Lansing case is being treated as an isolated entry point brought in through the hospital transfer I described earlier. They are hoping it stays isolated. The CDC confirmed that the antiviral compound they have been testing appears to disrupt the pathogen's replication cycle when administered before symptom onset. They are fast-tracking production. First batch of doses expected within 96 hours. Priority distribution will go to medical personnel and first responders. 96 hours. 4 days. That is a long 4 days. But it is not nothing. The governor closed by saying, Michigan has faced hard things before. We are a hard-weather, hard-working people, and we will face this the way we have faced everything else, together, and with the full measure of what we have. Please stay inside tonight. Please keep your outside lights on. We will have a full morning briefing at 7 a.m. Keep your outside lights on. The guard will be on the roads through the night, and lit residences help their patrols identify occupied dwellings. Turn your porch light on tonight. It is a small thing, and it matters. I want to take a few minutes and talk about the long view, not because I am pessimistic. I am not yet. But we have been focused on the immediate for 7 hours, and some of you need to hear someone say what comes after. This ends. Outbreaks end. This one is moving fast, and it is unlike anything in our reference points, but there are people working on it right now who do not sleep, who do not stop, who are running tests in isolation wards under conditions that most of us could not handle. The CDC has a treatment candidate. 4 countries are running parallel research on the same pathogen samples. The things that seem unstoppable always have stopping points. Always. What I want you to think about while you are inside right now. Who do you love that you have not told recently? What matters to you that you have been putting off acknowledging? What kind of person do you want to be when this is over? I know how that sounds coming out of a disaster broadcast on a Thursday afternoon. But I have been at this microphone for 7 hours, and I have talked to a man who does not know if his daughter is alive, and a teenager keeping her little brother calm in an empty house, and a 68-year-old doctor who is alone with his medications and is calm. And the thing I keep coming back to is this. The time between now and whenever this resolves is just time. That is all it is. Use it in a way that matters. Call the people you love. Text them. Send them a voice message. Say whatever you have been waiting to say. Say it now. Because we do not know how much of this we have left, and you would rather have spent it right. 4:31. Dana's sister called. She is alive. She is in a neighbor's house, someone she has known for years. They are together. She could not call for several hours because there was activity on her street, and she needed to stay quiet. She is okay. She is scared. She does not want to describe what she saw on her street earlier today. But she is alive. Dana held the phone against her chest for a moment after she hung up. Just held it there. I am going to give you a moment to find something to hold on to too, whatever that is for you. The CDC held a separate briefing while I was on the phones. Dana has the transcript. Here is what matters. They are officially classifying this as a novel pathogen. They are calling it MV1124, the date of the first confirmed case. Preliminary genome sequencing on samples from Traverse City is complete. The genome does not match any known viral or bacterial pathogen in their database. It is a novel organism. Never cataloged. Never documented anywhere in medical history. They believe the pathogen originated in a wildlife reservoir. The suspected primary host is bats, consistent with other novel pathogen emergences we have seen historically. The bite wound on the initial patient was almost certainly not from a dog. Most likely a hoary bat, Michigan's largest native bat species, acting with extreme aggression because it was in a late stage of infection itself. This pathogen has probably been circulating in the urban Michigan wildlife population for some time. What triggered the spillover to humans? Whether environmental changes, shifting wildlife territory, proximity to human activity, they do not know yet. What they do know, MV1124 targets the brainstem specifically. It does not destroy the host neurologically all at once. It degrades the higher cognitive function systematically while leaving the brainstem, the part of the brain governing aggression, movement, and basic drive, essentially intact and in a state of extreme activation. The violence is not random. The pathogen is directing the host to bite other potential hosts, maximizing its own transmission. It knows what it is doing in the way that something without a mind can know what it is doing. And the reanimation, the thing that makes this unlike every outbreak in human history, appears to be the pathogen sustaining brainstem function for a window of time after clinical death. Biological momentum. The virus does not want its host to stop. So for hours, possibly longer depending on conditions, it keeps it going. The CDC said they are working on a treatment pathway and that the antiviral candidate shows promise in laboratory conditions. Human trials have not begun. Timeline to any deployed treatment remains 4 days minimum, likely longer. There is no treatment arriving in the next 24 hours. No vaccine in the next week. The only thing stopping this right now is distance, barriers, and the decisions each of us makes about where we go and who we let near us. Distance, barriers, and time. 5:18. Things to do before it gets dark tonight. Charge every device you own. Phone, laptop, tablet, every portable battery pack you have. If the grid becomes unstable, you want every stored charge available. Identify all your light sources right now. Flashlights, candles, camping lanterns. Know where they are before you need them in the dark. Secure your ground-level access points. First-floor windows, garage doors that connect to the house, basement entry. Block or lock every one of them. Think about noise. Infected individuals appear to be drawn toward sound. After dark, keep noise levels low. Keep the television down. Stay quiet. Know who is in your building. If you are in an apartment complex and you can safely contact neighbors right now before dark, do it. Collective shelter is generally safer. More people watching, more people listening, more people who can help if something goes wrong inside. Identify your first aid supplies and know where they are. And this last one is the hardest. If someone in your household has been exposed, if they have been bitten or believe they may have had contact with an infected individual, have the conversation about your household protocol now, while you can both have it calmly and clearly. Decide together what you will do if symptoms appear. That conversation is one of the most terrible things I can imagine sitting down to have. But having it before you need it is better than having to invent it in the worst possible moment. I am going to go home tonight and have that conversation with my wife. I am not looking forward to it. But we will be better for having had it. 5-34. A listener named Helena sent a message about an hour ago, and I have been holding on to it. She said I could share it. She wrote, "My husband and I are in our house in Alma, which is between the containment line and us, I think. We have been listening to you all day. I want you to know that what you are doing matters. My husband said this morning he was scared and did not know what to do with that feeling. I told him to listen to you because at least someone was telling us the truth. We are okay right now. Our kids are with us. We have been playing board games between updates. Whatever happens, today was not nothing. Today we were here and we were together. Thank you for being there with us. Helena, whatever happens, today was not nothing. Today we were here and we were together. That is everything. That is the whole reason I am still in this chair. Because people like Helena and her husband and their kids in Alma, Michigan are playing board games on the hardest day in recent memory, and choosing to be present and human and together. That is not a small thing. That is the thing worth protecting. Every update, every hour, every city, we are not stopping. If this broadcast has been keeping you company through something difficult, subscribe and share it. Someone out there needs to find this channel tonight. The 6 p.m. briefing is done. Here's the summary. The governor confirmed that the U.S. 10 containment line is holding. No new confirmed cases south of that line since the Lansing hospital incident this morning, which remains isolated with no secondary transmission detected as of 6 p.m. The Guard is crediting the early road closures, the shelter-in-place compliance rate across the state, and what the state police director called an extraordinary response from Michigan citizens. North of the line, the situation remains active. Traverse City and Petoskey have been classified as active outbreak zones, requiring clearance operations before any residents can return. The word clearance in that context is military language for what comes before you can call an area safe again. That is what we are doing in Michigan in November. The Upper Peninsula situation is concentrated around the eastern tip near Sault Ste. Marie. The spread across the bridge appears to have been limited. Guard units at the upside of the Mackinac Bridge are holding that position. The antiviral treatment timeline remains at approximately 96 hours from now. Priority distribution to medical personnel and first responders first. The CDC confirmed separately that samples of MV1124 have been airlifted to research institutions in Germany and Japan to accelerate development in parallel. When you share a novel pathogen with international partners, you are acknowledging that speed matters more than secrecy. There are also unconfirmed reports of similar cases appearing near Green Bay, Wisconsin. The Wisconsin Department of Health Services is describing it as a small cluster with an unusual symptomatic profile. If accurate, and I want to be careful because this is not confirmed, it suggests MV1124 has been spreading through wildlife populations across multiple states simultaneously. And what we are seeing in Michigan may be the first visible surface of something much larger underground. I am not going to dwell on that tonight. There is enough in front of us in Michigan without borrowing tomorrow's problems. The containment line at US 10 is holding. That is what I know. That is what I am holding on to. It is dark now. It came early, the way it always does in Michigan November. The street lamp I can see from this window is on. The buildings across the way have lights in some windows. Not all of them. Some of the dark ones are people who sheltered somewhere else today. Some of them I am not going to think about. The scanner activity has dropped compared to this afternoon. Guard patrols on the major roads south of the line are reporting normal conditions. The pattern north of the line is less chaotic than it was at its peak around midday. The containment appears to be functioning. I want to be careful about what I mean by that. Functioning does not mean finished. It does not mean safe. It means the line is there, and it is holding, and the people working it are doing their jobs. Michigan is still here. 7:14. The calls coming in now have a different quality than the morning calls. In the morning, people were asking what to do. Now they are calling to say they are okay. Or to ask if someone specific is okay. Or just to say something out loud to another person. A man from Kalamazoo called and said his daughter is a nurse at one of the Traverse City hospitals. He has not heard from her since last night. I told him that in situations like this, people inside are often unable to communicate because they are focused completely on doing their jobs, not because the worst has happened. He said she chose nursing because she wanted to help people. I said I know. I told him that is exactly the kind of person I want inside a hospital right now. He cried a little on the phone, and I let him. We sat together for a moment in the quiet of the call, and then he said thank you and hung up. A woman from Saginaw called to say her neighborhood has set up a block communication system. 12 families with each other's phone numbers, checking in every hour, agreed that if anyone's situation changes, they alert the group immediately. She was proud of this. She should be. That is exactly the kind of community response that changes outcomes. Not the government, not the guard, not me on this microphone. Neighbors knowing each other's names and deciding together to look out for each other. That is what gets people through. A girl called. Could not have been more than 15 or 16. She said she has been alone with her little brother all day while her parents were stranded by road closures before they could get home. She asked me what she should do. I asked her if her brother was okay. She said yes. I asked if she had food. She said yes. I asked if the doors were locked. She said yes. I told her she was doing everything right. I told her she was one of the bravest people I had talked to all day. She got quiet, and then she said, okay, I can do that, and she hung up. I keep thinking about her. I keep thinking about what it would feel like to be her parents right now. I have a daughter who is 6 years old. My wife texted me an hour ago. They are home, doors locked, lights on, and she is keeping everything as normal as she can for a 6-year-old. That is its own kind of courage. The quiet kind, the kind that does not make the news. I am going to get through this night, and I am going to drive 11 miles and walk through my front door. But not yet. 8:02. The U.S. Military Joint Operations Center is now coordinating the Michigan response. This is a significant escalation. It means the federal government has assessed this as beyond the capacity of state-level management alone. Assets are being deployed from Fort Custer, Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri, and Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio. There are military aircraft over Michigan right now, running reconnaissance, mapping movement concentrations north of the line, feeding real-time intelligence to ground forces. The CDC has announced they are sharing MV1124 samples with 4 research institutions across 2 continents to accelerate treatment development. Sharing a novel pathogen internationally is not standard protocol. It tells you they understand the stakes clearly. Dana just came back from sleeping a few hours on the cot in the production room. She looks like herself again. She walked straight to her workstation and picked up exactly where she left off. And I want to say something on record that I mean completely. Dana is one of the best people I know. She stayed here when she did not have to. She worked through the worst of it without breaking. She kept her hands steady all day while she did not know if her sister was alive. That kind of person is the reason things hold together when everything is trying to come apart. She just slid me a note. It says, "Nina called while you were on air. She is okay. She is in a shelter. She is okay. Nina is okay." I am going to let that land for a second. 9:33. The night is long and the building is cold, and Dana and I have been going on coffee and granola bars for the last several hours, and none of that matters right now. Let me tell you about tomorrow morning before I go. The 7 a.m. briefing will give updated numbers and a clearer picture of the containment line status. I will carry it live. Pay attention to that briefing before you do anything else. Do not go outside when the sun comes up until you know what the morning situation looks like in your specific area. Daylight does not change the infection. Wait for the update. If you have medications you need and you are running low, identify that now. Write it down. Emergency prescription protocols exist for declared state emergencies, and you need to know what you need before you can ask for it. Keep your animals inside and away from wildlife contact. We do not yet know how broadly MV1124 affects domestic animals or whether they can carry it. Until we know, keep them close. Monitor your own body. If you wake up feeling feverish or increasingly confused, take it seriously. It is more likely stress or a normal illness, but take it seriously. If symptoms are severe and progressing fast, call 911 and tell them your exposure history before anything else. Look after the people in your building. Elderly neighbors, people living alone, people with mobility challenges. A text, a call, a note. Make sure someone knows they are seen. And talk to the people who are with you. Say the things. Do not let the silence of a long night become the silence of things left unsaid. Whatever is between you and the person in the next room, or across the state, or on the other end of a text thread, say it tonight. The world has a way of making clear what was always the most important thing. Pay attention to that. 11:14. I called my wife a little while ago. My daughter was already asleep. My wife said she had been listening to this broadcast all day and that she was proud of me, and also that she wanted me to come home right now. I told her I would be there before morning. She said okay. She said I love you. I said it back. She did not want to hang up. We stayed on the call a little longer than we needed to. Just breathing, just being in the same call together. That is everything. That is all of it, right there. It is nearly midnight. We are close to 15 hours of continuous broadcasting from this studio. The lights are on. The transmitter is running. Michigan is listening. Dana's sister is in a shelter in Traverse City. Marcus and his 20 students are in a dormitory in Mount Pleasant. The retired doctor on the east side of Lansing is in his apartment with his medication and his calm and his decades of knowing how to hold terrible things steadily. The girl in Saginaw is with her little brother, and the doors are locked. The man from Kalamazoo is waiting for word about his daughter. Helena and her husband and their kids are in Alma, Michigan, and today they played board games. The National Guard is on the roads. The CDC is running samples. Scientists in 4 countries are looking at MV1124, trying to understand it, trying to break it. 4 days until the first antiviral doses. 4 days. The containment line at US 10 is holding. The night is long, but it has an end. Everything has an end. I am going to leave the microphone to Dana at midnight. She is better at this than I am anyway. And I am going to drive to East Lansing and walk through my front door and sit next to my sleeping daughter for a few minutes and breathe. And then tomorrow at 6 a.m. I will be back, right here, at this microphone. Because that is where I need to be, and it is what I do. You are on 97.3 FM, Outbreak FM, Lansing, Michigan. My name is Alex Mercer. I have been here all day, and I will be here in the morning. Keep your lights on, lock your doors, hold your people close. This is not over. But we are still in it. And that means there is still a chance. Stay with me just a little longer. Midnight. Day 1 of the Michigan outbreak is ending. The US 10 containment line is intact. No confirmed new outbreak centers south of the line since 10 a.m. this morning. 14 communities north of the line remain in active emergency status. National Guard and federal military assets are on scene across the affected region. The antiviral treatment trial is ongoing. The world is watching Michigan and responding. Tomorrow will be hard. I am not going to pretend otherwise. But today, the people of this state made hard decisions and stayed inside and took care of each other and held the line. And that is something. That is not nothing. Dana will be here. The frequency will stay live. The information will keep coming. If you are somewhere north of the containment line right now, in a shelter or a locked room or the upper floor of a building in the dark, we have not forgotten you. Help is coming. Hold on. This is Alex Mercer on 97.3 FM, Outbreak FM, Michigan. Keep fighting. That was day 1. Subscribe now because day 2 is coming, and it is going to be worse before it gets better. More cities, more hours, more broadcasts. You do not want to miss what happens next.